Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cutshield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cutshield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cutshield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code GroveCityHockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today. Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is a very special guest. I've got Julio Bana Fernandez. How you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm great, man. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. So for those of you who don't know, Julio played for Team USA just recently in the Pan American Games down in, where was it? It was, Colombia. I know it was one of those. I almost said Venezuela, and I go, that's not right. But no, and we just had a conversation, with Aiden Schweitz and Ryan Marker. That episode's going to be dropping here pretty soon. But I wanted to bring you back on because I wanted to hear a little bit more about your story. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got started in hockey? What was like? Was it something that your dad or your uncle got you into it? Maybe your mom even. So just tell us how you found the sport of hockey.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually, I guess, kind of uncommon. I didn't even know hockey existed until I was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. I had no family background in it whatsoever. And I only found it through like the Mighty Ducks movies.
Okay.
So it was just an after school thing one day. I saw those and I binged all three and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a cool thing. And then around 12 was like when I started paying more attention to ESPN and stuff too. So every once in a while I'd catch a hockey highlight. Mm-hmm. And so slowly started getting more exposure to the sport. And then when I went to high school, I found out that my school had a team. And I had an after school job with one of the guys on the team. So I was asking him, I was like, hey, how much is it to play hockey? And he just deadpan told me $1,000. Mm-hmm. I thought he was kidding. Mm-mm. And yeah, he was like, no, seriously, $1,000. I was like, dude, like, my parents don't, like, they weren't struggling, but like they weren't happy about paying $50 to $75 for soccer fees. Like $1,000 for a season, that's crazy. I was like, you get like all this team gear and stuff, and they said no. Like that's just traveling in ice time. Like you got to bring your own gear. You have to pay for jerseys if you want to keep them after the season. I was like, holy crap!
Right?
Like that was insane to me. But so another guy who was in the same after school like work program. He was the goalie on the team, and he kind of told me, he was like, hey, well, not this year, but next year I'm going to get new gear, just like legs and gloves. You can use my old stuff if you want to just kind of start playing pickup just to get a feel for it. So I was like, all right, cool. So 16 years old was when I actually started playing hockey, like the first time I ever put the skates on. And even that, like, he gave me pretty much everything I needed, but I still spent $500 at like a Play It Again Sports for just a helmet, a chesty, and skates.
Yeah. That's crazy. Just, and here, let alone, I mean, if you had to buy the legs and the catcher and the blocker, plus your goalie stick, you'd have been well into the thousands just for that, just in gear. And then on top of that, man, I don't know how you guys do it with the way the pads are so expensive. But man, what a great sport though, So 16, so that would have been, what year would have that have been?
2010.
Okay.
It was, yeah. They 2010 or 11. And even then it was like I had played, tried a bunch of different sports growing up. I just liked playing games and stuff. But like I said, it was so expensive to play. I just wanted to play, but I had to find somewhere. So I went like straight into beer league.
Mm-hmm.
And the high school team actually that year, the seniors had graduated and there weren't enough incoming freshmen to keep the team going. So it became a club sport, which
Okay.
basically we just went out on Fridays during the winter months. So like November to February, just once a week, go on a Friday afternoon, pay like $20 a head. And, we have a quote unquote practice, but really just playing pickup for an hour or two. But like, I loved it, obviously. And I wasn't like amazing out of the gate or anything like that. I just was just obsessed with it. So I just wanted to play as much as possible, went into the men's league games, and I'd actually tried out for a couple of junior teams my senior year of high school. And then it just got even crazier because I actually ended up making a junior A team, and they said it was almost $15,000 for that season.
Yeah.
And like it was like somebody punched me in the stomach. Like all the wind went out of me. I was like, how is that even possible? Like I couldn't wrap my head around that. And then they said, well, if the money's an issue, you could play for the junior B team. I was like, all right, well, how much is that? He said 12,000. It's like, you're talking about
I saved
a year or
$3,000.
a semester of college tuition.
Right.
Like that was
There's a scholarship here?
yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was hard to get my head around, but that was also kind of why I started playing roller, because I got a pair of roller blades with like the stopper on the back and everything, and I was just playing at like local tennis courts or something, just skating around by myself, and then happened to meet some people. They hooked me up with an outdoor league, which led to the indoor roller league in my area, which that rink has since closed down, unfortunately. But yeah, I was playing there just in the summer times, and that's kind of how I got my start in roller, was because it was the much cheaper alternative.
Yeah. And where was this at? Where are you based out of? Are you out in California or?
I know my hair says California, but I'm on the opposite coast. I'm in
East Coast. You're on the East Coast. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, actually.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, the hockey scene in general isn't huge around here, but the roller hockey scene is even smaller. So I did have this rink. Now I have to drive at least, hour and a half, which I know other people have to do as well. Like it is what it is. Unfortunately, rinks are closing down everywhere. But yeah, Baltimore doesn't have a huge roller hockey scene anymore. But when I was looking for colleges, I was kind of like, I know I'm not going to get scholarships anywhere, and I'm going to have to like walk on try out for any team that I go to. But some of the men's leagues that I was playing with at the time, some of the college guys from the Towson University team were playing roller hockey at this league. They were telling me about the school, and I was like, okay, cool. And it just made sense for me because I had to pay college. My parents told me like they'll start me out, they'll pay my first semester, and then it's on me. So I was working and paying as I was going along. So I didn't want to have a ton of student loan debt and go out somewhere far. So I was like, all right, Towson is in Maryland. It's, it can be a half hour, little more commute. Like it just, all the pieces connected. And they also had an ice hockey team. And I didn't know the difference at the time, but I was like, they're ACHA Division One. I don't know what that means, but it's not NCAA, so maybe I have a shot.
Right. That's awesome. So yeah, my cousin, he just recently got out of the military, and one of the areas or police forces that was trying to recruit him was Baltimore. He said he did a ride along, and it was like, I don't know if Baltimore's for me.
Bro, yeah, I was about to say, bro, be careful. It is. Yeah. I know many people who have like stopped being cops, just retired from the force entirely, or just like moved out of Baltimore. Like I know somebody that moved from Baltimore to Chicago because they felt like it was safer.
Wow, that's pretty rough right there. But yeah, no, I think he's north of the city, about an hour, hour and a half now.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm not exactly sure where that's at. I only saw him for the first time in like 7 years, like 3 months ago. So it was the first time we had a conversation. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, his daughter is like a few months younger than my son, and my son's 4.5. So, and that was the first time. Yeah, it was the first time that I got a chance to see his daughter. But I wasn't able to bring Luke down because he was with his mom for the weekend. So it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. But man, so that's cool. Now, are you playing MIHA this year?
This year, yeah. So last year was a full season in Spain for me, and I'm actually, so my dad is originally from Spain, so this all kind of sparked this interest of being able to go back pretty much and work whenever I want. So I'm applying for dual citizenship, and with that process being ongoing, I didn't want the interference of going back and forth because I have to take appointments in DC at the embassy. So I kind of decided, I'm going to stay home this season. I'm going to wait until that process is completely taken care of before I think about going back to play to Europe. But yeah, so I'll play MIHA this year.
Cool. And what team are you playing for in MIHA?
I am with the Ringrat Iron Knights.
Okay, cool. Cool. You guys are in the Eastern Division. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty close. It's nice. It's good guys up there. This is my first season with them, but I think a lot of them have been together for a while, and they're just
cool.
So far from what I've seen, just good guys, which is a big plus.
Yes, awesome. And you'll see Marker from time to time out there too.
Yeah. It was funny because I was like, when I was deciding about what I was going to do this year, I kind of wasn't sure if I was going to go back or not. And then by the time I had made the decision to stay, like the pro division, especially in the East, is like, was it 5 teams, maybe 6? So everybody's kind of got their guys already set up and everything. So I might call up a little bit here and there with one team, but just playing a full season, I'm going to be with the Iron Knights for the semi-pro division, and it'll be fun. Yeah, Marker, me and him love to rip into each other. So
I think there's 6 teams this year. You got the Michigan Fury, Pittsburgh Inferno, you got the Suffolk Sting, and then the Mauritius Sting, which I'm like, whatever you want to call it, Mo Riches. And then I know I'm in the few. And with the what's that?
And Marple.
Yeah, Marple Gladiator. So 7 teams. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's a pretty stacked division too, especially with some of the big name players that are playing. You had a couple guys from Team USA basically on every team. So it's going to be pretty tough. Yeah.
And certain guys, certain guys don't play. Certain guys don't keep playing overseas. Like they might play 1 or 2 years and stop. So I know Joey had at least 3 years in Europe that I know of, maybe a little bit more. But like I think Joey D's playing this year because he's staying home.
Yep.
And like, so it's like every once in a while, those guys that they stop playing over there or something else, or they stop playing ice hockey pro, so they start playing MIHA, and it's I think there's a lot more of those guys this year.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And which makes for a really interesting season, and a lot more exciting to watch as a fan, because you're getting really high level hockey, close to home. And it almost feels like going to an Arch or a State Wars or a Tours event where you're going to see all of the superstars that you're used to seeing in the pro division are now playing against each other and beating each other up. I really can't say the same out in the West. It's a little different out there, but it'll be fun to watch. That's for sure. As a fan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's funny what you said about like Narch and State Wars and Tours and all that. I pretty much just did ice hockey through college except for the summers. But even then, it wasn't until COVID in 2020 when we were all locked inside for so long that I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube into roller hockey. I had never heard of Narch, State Wars, Tours, like all of like the meccas. Like I didn't even know there were world championships for roller hockey. I had no idea. And like all this time, I was just playing like house leagues and house tournaments and stuff. And like obviously fell in love with the sport. I was like I felt a little like betrayed and hurt. I was like, how has nobody told me about this?
Right.
Oh my gosh. So that was like, and I was like mostly I hiked a lot during COVID, but like that was my big what I'm gonna do when this is all over moment. I was like, I still got the itch. I want to see if I have the skill level to continue in this fashion, with roller hockey and just like dive into that world. So yeah, it wasn't like 2021 was really the first time I had started doing anything relative to, MIHA or Narch or State Wars or anything.
Yeah. So I had graduated in high school in 2001, and I had just started, I started my inline career right around 16, kind of like you did. And, my team, my school didn't have a high school hockey program. We could join the co-op, but it's a 45-minute drive north, and my mom was like, if you're going to play, you're paying, and, or drive yourself. And I had a $500 beater car that my parents bought for me and didn't expect it to make it through the winter. So I didn't want to push it. But I drove that thing all over hell. It was crazy. And it finally conked out on me my senior year, just before I got my truck as my senior gift. So it was kind of comedic timing because it literally bonked out 2 weeks before I graduated, and then I happened to get a new truck for graduation gifts, and then my brother decided to fry the transmission 4 days after I got it. So yeah, it sucked, and then had to use like all of my graduation money from my party to fix my truck, and so Willie, if you ever watch this, you still owe me a truck, you dick. But it's neither here nor there. But yeah, so and then I had heard about Narch there because like the first big North American roller hockey championships was held in Minnesota at the Minnesota Wild complex, and always thought, man, that would be so cool to play in an Narch event, and I never did. So I went from 2001, essentially all the way to 2015 without playing in any of the big major tournaments.
Wow.
But I did play in Major League Roller Hockey, which, I'll take that as a win,
Oh,
So, but yeah, and then playing with guys like Mike Francis and Andy Bilheimer and Etan Chivera, was highlight of my career right there. So can't complain. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about, you just found out about the Narch scene, and then that takes you to overseas, right?
Yeah, eventually I had played basically I want to say 2 years in the States because I started playing with a tournament team, and one of the guys on that team led me to my first MIHA squad, which was the Aces up in Long Island. Played with them for a while. And then after that second summer, I was kind of like, I was at this point where I was like in tours and Narch, and I was excited, but I couldn't crack a PAMA roster. And I knew that was the big one. That was the next step. And I was like, how do I do this? And I was like, all right, like I need more of a pedigree on my resume. It's like, all right, got to make the jump. So I ended up just trying to network and texting and talking to whoever I could that would listen. And Pablo Navarro, amazing guy, like such an amazing world traveler. I hope I have done as much for the roller hockey community when I'm his age that he's done. If I even done a fraction of it, I would be proud. He's awesome guy. But he hooked me up with basically a guy in France who doesn't run a team or an agency or anything like that. He just knows a lot of people, and he kind of put the word out there that I was looking for a squad. And that was the same year that I had gone down to play the South American roller games in Argentina.
Okay.
with and it wasn't a USAR's sponsored event or anything, but we were
Okay.
still representing the USA. So,
Hmm.
for me, it was obviously a big deal. And, for people looking from the outside, like, okay, you've played to this magnitude. So it got me a little bit of kind of street cred and got me on a team out there in France. And then the one of my teammates, this German guy, actually, he played in Spain the previous year, and he knew like Spain was my ultimate goal because again, from my
Okay.
family history and stuff, that was my
Yeah.
big one. Um, and so he was kind of still in touch with the coach from that team from the previous year and kind of hooked us up. So we basically ended up, I mean, it's not like a trade or anything, but we still kind of did a swap. The goalie that was there came to the team that I went to in France, and then
Hmm.
I went to that team in Spain the following year.
Okay.
We just kind of figured out that it was better fit for both of us. I wanted to go to Spain. He wanted to change. So it was. We just decided pretty much to contact the opposite coach, and like no hard feelings towards the other one. It was just this was the better fit.
Right.
So yeah. So then I ended up going to Spain. Played in Castellon, which is very close to Valencia.
Okay.
If you think of Spain as just like a square, it's
Hmm.
all the way like dead center, all the way to the East Coast. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful city. So many great people, so many great memories. It was awesome. I had two roommates. One was the Swedish guy named Victor Lindell, played a little bit in I think the second division in Sweden for ice
Hmm.
hockey, and Blake Thomas Brown, absolute beauty of a kid from Atlanta, which actually made me a little scared to start because when they, gave me the contract, they told me who else I would be sharing the apartment with, and I was like,
Hmm.
kid from Atlanta, I have no idea who he is. Man, I hope he's not a little douchebag. Like, I was actually worried about. I was like, dude, I have to share a one bedroom or sorry, it was a four bedroom, but it was a one bathroom apartment.
Right.
And I was like, man, I don't know about this. I don't know if this is going to work. But then he ended up like becoming one of my best friends to this day, and just awesome time.
That's awesome. And so you're close to the border of France, I believe, right?
About 3.5 hours from the border of France. The closest, I think, big city from France up there is Barcelona.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Cool.
mean, when you take the trains over there, you take trains everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to Madrid and back from my city for like 25 euros. It's, you can go
Easy.
all over the place super easy.
Yeah. And cheap too. I mean, it's not that terrible.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, going from country to country over there when you have like the European Union passport,
Hmm.
it's like going from state to state for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You drive 3 hours, you're in the same state. You
Hmm.
drive 3 hours over there, maybe you're in the same country, but if you're in the right spot, you could hit three or four different countries.
Exactly. And that's the thing that most people here in the United States don't understand. It's like you could take a 12-hour car ride or even an 8-hour car ride, like you said, even a 3-hour car ride, and you could hit 3 to 4 different countries just in that span, especially, how close you are to the border. I mean, like, look, if you were on the border of Portugal, Spain, and France. They're all right there. That's 3 countries within 20 minutes if you're right there on the four corners, kind of like where you got Colorado, Wyoming, Arizona, and New Mexico. So just I mean it's pretty crazy how you can just hit so many different countries in such a short time span.
Yeah, it's awesome. Makes it nice for the traveling over there.
Yeah. Now, how close was that team that you played for in Spain to your family's hometown, so to speak?
So funny enough, it was pretty much the complete opposite side of the country. Where my dad is from is like right above Portugal. So it's like West Coast, West Coast. Now I still do, that's like the hometown. I still do have like some uncles and some family in Madrid, which is why I would take the train over there and, have dinner with them when I could. So it was cool. Like I I mean, with like Facebook and other social media, I've connected with this part of my family before, but we had never met.
Right.
So playing over there, I got to, have regular dinners with family that I've, had all my life, but I've never met before. And then, just get to meet them, and they were awesome. And makes me excited to go back and, just for vacation purposes, go see them again.
Heck yeah. Now, did you ever get a chance to make it to the coast of Portugal?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hit up Nazaré?
I didn't go to Nazaré. No, I was in Lisbon.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. No, I just was just curious as to if the rumors are true about those 80 to 100-foot waves that you see coming out of there. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that on Max. They have a show called The 100-Foot Wave, and it's about Garrett. I can't think of the surfer's last name, but his name's Garrett, and he is crazy to go out there and surf these giant these giant waves, much like in the movie Crashing Mavericks or Chasing Mavericks. That's just outside of San Francisco. But I mean, man, that's just absolute crazy that the ocean can spit something up that big.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that in person. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have this lighthouse that's been there for centuries, and just to get the view from that, just even on camera, is pretty breathtaking. So I can't even imagine what it's like to be there in person to see something like that. Because you get the Spanish architecture. Makes it just that much more beautiful in my eyes, and more. I appreciate that type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things about being over there was, we were in a city, a pretty decent sized city, so we had the city life, but we were a few miles from a beach town, and it was like the sea beaches, not oceanside beaches, so it was just a little bit different. But you could be on the beach and you could see the mountains. And that's just part of the landscapes over there. Also, part of the culture. Shit. Found out my goalie partner, Joanne Travers, great kid, phenomenal goalie, but kid's crazy. I found out that hiking here means nature walking.
Yeah.
Over there, they mean scaling mountains. Because I was hiking with him one day. We're going through, having an incline, whatever, and all of a sudden the path is just dead, and there's a mountain, there's a wall. I'm like, all right, I guess we took a wrong turn. He just starts going straight up. It's like, oh, all right, I guess that's what we're doing today. And then, thank God I'm not afraid of heights or anything. But at one point, I look back, I'm like, why are we doing? What is happening? And he just turns back. He's like, hey, Julio, be careful, okay? If you fall, you can die. Cool, thanks, bro.
It's just, it's like I didn't bring any mountain climbing gear on this hike, So.
And then I asked him, this place we stopped for lunch was at the top of the mountain. And I was like, what is this place called? He said, Trampolina Diablo, the Devil's Trampoline.
Which is probably not like an expert level of climbing, but it's probably like an intermediate bouldering mountain. I can't think of the bouldering scale, on the level of difficulties, but it's not the easiest and it's not the hardest, but it's probably a few steps below the hardest, And the crazy thing is that you're doing it without lines and anything like that. So it's just all freehand. So like you said, one slip up and it could be pretty disastrous.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, dude, you're crazy. And then he showed me how much crazier he is, because he's like, all right, Julio, stand here. It's a good picture. And I'm on the edge. I'm looking down. It was I'll send you some pictures. It was we were thousands of feet up. We were in a ways. But it was, beautiful views and everything, breathtaking. And then he goes on the opposite side, literally climbs down the back of the mountain. So he's just dangling and takes his phone out and starts taking pictures of me. It's like, oh yeah, this is the good picture spot. I was like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, and you're gonna hate me for telling you this because you actually put in a lot of effort climbing up to those, to see those views on those mountains, but you guys probably weren't even, 3/4 of a mile up.
Yeah, right. Like it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now that's the crazy thing, because like Mount Everest is at its highest is 6 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Like most people don't realize that it literally is 6 miles, from the base of the mountain to the top of the mountain.
A mile is what, like 1,200 feet, something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
They do everything in meters and kilometers over there. So I was lost anyway.
Well, I know that 10 kilometers is 6 miles. So.
Yeah, when you run a 5K, it's like 3.2
miles.
Okay, yeah.
3.2. Yeah, because that is the average person walks 3.2 miles per hour.
Okay.
So they go, oh, I can walk 5 kilometers in 3.2, which is 1 hour.
The more you know.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's half the battle, right? But yeah, so anytime that somebody goes, man, I just did a 5K, and I go, what? You did an exercise for an hour. Like if you ran even less time, like give yourself a round of applause for that one. Because they always try to ham it up. But speaking of which, tell us a little bit more about your trip in Spain. Obviously, I love talking about the culture. Were you able to see or witness the running of the bulls while you were there too?
So the running of the bulls is kind of like a special event that goes from city to city. I wasn't there at the time, but anybody that's been to Spain for any period of time will tell you they always have a fiesta for something, like always. And during the biggest one of the year called the La Magdalena, it's like the celebration of the city. They have a bullfighting arena like all the time. It's there, you know what I mean? It's built obviously, hundreds of years ago, but they only bring in like the bullfighters and the bulls during this time of year. So I did go to see that. Definitely not for everybody.
But realistically, the bull isn't going to win.
Yeah.
You probably didn't realize how, I don't want to say gory, but how bloody it was going to end up being.
Yeah, and my the crazy hiking kid, Joan, actually, I went with him and his girlfriend, and they kind of gave me the rundown of what it means. Like, so we went to, they have the normal bullfighting, which is like the stereotypical, the guy in the get up with the red cape that says, oh, yeah, and the bull runs by and stuff. But this event was actually, it was like a combination of that with like if you see like horse, was it equestrian dressage or something in like the Olympics, where like you're riding a horse and making them do certain movements and stuff.
Yep.
These people were on a horse and doing all the same things with the bull in the arena.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
At times, like the bull was like right behind the horse, and that was like part of the point, was that the rider is making them think that they're gonna get there, but then he, does the stab or whatever, does a maneuver and like puts on this show. Right. So you're like inches away from disaster with that. But watching that, I was like, holy, that was pretty wildly impressive. And yeah, like you said, like, the bull's not going to win, how that's going to go. But I did find out some of the after effects of that. They actually end up, so like they eat all kinds of meat and everything. Mm-hmm. They sell bull meat, but prize bulls and like bulls that were killed in the arena actually go for more.
Oh.
And that money goes to like support the community in which the bull was killed. So like
Okay.
those particular ones, basically all the extra money went to the city of Castellon.
Yeah. Which is cool, and then it's part of their heritage. It's tradition that they've done, hundreds of years. Almost 4 or 5, maybe even thousands of years now. And it's different because that's something that we have grown away from. Those type of traditions and those type of because of our melting pot. Here in America, we have so many different traditions and so many different nationalities that you can't always bring over those type of situation or those type of traditions here in the States. You can do your best to keep it in the family, as much as you can, but to get a big spectacle like that, I've always appreciated those types of histories and traditions that the Spain has, the bullfighting. Mexico, I think, even has some bullfighting as well. And all along with some of the other countries that have their specific traditions and niches that they prefer. And I think it's cool. I mean, you can be, I don't want to say butthurt about certain things, but it is how they were back in the day. And if you forget about those traditions, you're doomed to repeat something that could be detrimental to society in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where it's like, it is a tradition and it's part of the culture, but there's like some people that kind of grow out of it. You know what I mean? It's like football on Sundays here in America is almost a religion, but then there's some people that are like, you know what? I like my Sundays for hiking or family time or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're not necessarily like un-American for not doing this, but like this is kind of a general acceptance that happens here.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, you could go from being a diehard football fan and then take a year or two off and then go back into it, and it's not the same feeling as it was, 3-4 years ago for you. But yeah, so now tell us a little bit about how did you because the style in Spain versus the American style is completely different. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that style? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Because all of the rinks over there are fairly small, and you're playing on international size nets, which is, I think, 3x4, if I'm not mistaken, 3 feet by 4 feet.
It's the same width, but it is a foot shorter. So it's 3 by whatever the.
Yeah, I think it's 3x4, and the normal American is 4x4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a little shorter. So thankfully, I had a little bit of experience when I went to Argentina for that, and France too. But it definitely keeps you on your toes, just because with the shorter rinks, like anybody can shoot from anywhere.
Right.
Like I remember my first practice in France, somebody took a slap shot from the center of the rink, and I was like, what the hell is he thinking? But then when I looked at it objectively, like from the stands looking down, I was like, oh, he's actually not that far. Like this is basically a shot from the blue line. So like maybe, so like, yeah, I'm going to see that all the way and stuff. But man, that's, I've seen people score from the other side of the rink.
Yeah.
Those small rinks, it can be wild, but yeah, it definitely has a bigger home rink advantage to it, because technically there's no regulation, but there's 3 dimensions you can go by. You can either be like short, medium, or long in length, which I think is like 120, 140, and 160. Which if your home rink is 160 and then you're coming to 120, doesn't sound like a lot, but that's the difference in somebody shooting from half and it being a lot tighter.
Right.
And, even things to like some teams have glass going all the way around. Some have no glass at all. They just have netting.
Yeah.
But some of them you play off of that. Here in the States, you're used to put it in the netting. It's a stoppage of play, but that's not a thing a lot of times over there. So those bounces, somebody shoots high and wide, that rebound can come off completely different coming off glass than coming off a net. Or
Right.
like we had no glass, we just had netting, but there was almost like a fence material just above the board. So depending on how it hit that, you had no idea what that
Right.
was going to do. So you almost had to get out of your goalie habit of like kind of just turning your head up into a point and following it behind and then looking around the other side, like your other shoulder. You had to like look all the way around and like actually turn your head all the way around your body all the way around to track it because you had no idea. There was no anticipation with it.
Right. Yeah, and it's tough, especially when you have net, because a tenth of an inch this way can send the puck 5 feet to your right. But if it hits the same spot, but a half, like a 1/3 of an inch, the to the right, then it's shooting off to the left, 16 feet, and or it could bounce right back out and hit you in the back of the head. You not even know, because you can hit the same spot 3 different ways and it's going to come out 4 different ways at the end of the bounce.
Yeah, which, like I said, just keeps you on your toes more. And the style of play actually, it was interesting because you can't just play like the American style possession game, but some guys still try to, but the way to execute it well, you had to be really, really good with your passing, and your guys had to move to open space a lot more efficiently, I think, because of a smaller rink. Like if you're trying to kill the last, 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of a game because you have a 1-goal lead, you can't just sit behind your net and cycle and, kind of come around. Like you have to be moving really, really fast, and your passes have to be on the tape because everybody is just constantly pressuring, which almost makes it like, if you're playing that possession game, good luck because the other team has a really good chance of taking it away from you. But it also leads to, if they're going to play that high press, you probably, if you can execute it right, you're going to have an odd man rush or probably a breakaway going the other way at some point because they're all going to come down.
Yeah, that's crazy. So now you come back to the States. You get picked to play for Team USA. This was your second Team USA selection, right?
Yeah, so the first one was the South American Roller Games in Argentina, which to me, you're wearing the USA crest, you're representing the USA. That was my first experience playing for Team USA. Other guys like to say it wasn't a USAR sponsored event, so it doesn't count, whatever, but I'll let everybody else decide that as they come. But for me, yeah, it was the second time putting on the USA uniform.
Yeah. And then so you go to the Pan American Games. You guys play 5 games, right? I believe it was 5 games. 6 games.
I think 6, yeah.
Yeah, 6, because you guys played each of your you played Colombia, you played Canada, you played
Ecuador.
In your round robin. Then you had Canada in your semifinal game, and then you took on Colombia again in the finals. Yeah, semi. Yep. And you guys came out ahead, winning the gold in dramatic fashion with an overtime win, which is amazing to witness and to watch. I was able to catch the last few minutes of that game, and it was great to see you guys, especially Marker and Aiden Schweiss, because I'd known them before. I'm glad I got a chance that they introduced me to you, because now we have had a couple conversations, and it's been nothing but a blast just chit-chatting with you. So with that, what's next on your agenda? Because you've pretty much done it all. I mean, you've had a chance to play in France. You've played in Spain. Now you're playing here in the States for this season. What's next on your agenda?
So my biggest things are I want to win one of the pro tournament, national tournaments, each of them. So I was fortunate enough to be with the Tour Roadrunners when we won tours in 23,
Mhm.
and that was absolute blast and amazing. So I need to knock off Narch and Palma's obviously the big one, the Invitational in the
Yeah.
summer, and honestly, and then the next one. I checked off the international gold medal with the Pan American Games, but
Mhm.
I want to do it with the worlds. I need to, and I know it's, you know, anybody that knows the USA roller hockey scene knows we could send two teams that would finish in the top 10. A third might be in the top 15. Like there's just such a deep talent pool here. It's ridiculous. So I don't know if I'll ever get that chance to play world championships, but that's good. That's going to be what I'm striving for. And then moving forward, other than just playing here and keeping this going, I I want to kind of set up a roller hockey, basically like have my own rink. I want to set up something to give back to the community and offer something that wasn't there for me when I was younger.
Yeah.
So essentially, I want to set up something maybe like Irvine, like a two, maybe three rink facility, and
Mhm.
then like a combination of that and what Eton Chaver has with the Dangle Dojo out there now,
Yeah.
like just a training. Like to me, if I had uh, like something like the Dojo to go to when I was younger, that would
Mhm.
be such a sanctuary for me. And I feel like, again, with Baltimore not having a roller hockey scene pretty much at all,
Right.
creating these spaces for people to go to would be a huge, huge help. And that would be something I could really, really sit well with in
Yeah.
terms of my next step and moving forward, especially once I get, everybody's got to stop playing someday. Uh, I mean, maybe it's after Masters or whatever the Legends or
Yeah.
whatever that is called. But
Yeah, because Legends all the way up to 55 and over. So you still got a few more years before you get to hang up those skates, pending
yeah,
injury. Don't get injured. All right, do whatever you can to not get injured. Because I'll tell you what, my career was cut short because of an injury, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, family for me, it was being able to pick up my kids or keep playing until I put myself in a wheelchair, and that was probably not a good idea. So
yeah, man, you
um,
100% made the right
yeah.
call. That's the way it goes. When I was 23, when I stopped right out of college, actually, before I found out everything with roller and I was just doing ice, I was
Mhm.
gonna go play in the Fed with Marker actually.
Yeah.
I was having a bunch of hip issues, and anybody who's played goalie for any length of time will tell you it is not friendly on the joints,
Hmm.
especially the hips. Um, so I saw an orthopedic surgeon at 23 because I wasn't walking normally, and he was like, "Well, do you want surgery now or later in your life?" I was like, I literally almost said "fuck you" to the surgeon because I was like,
Right.
I'm 23 years old. I am not
Yeah.
getting hip surgery. I know guys like Thatcher Demko and guys in the NHL do it.
Hmm.
They have the best care in the world, and they can do that. I'm
Right.
not in that position.
Right.
So I just went the physical therapy route and got back to a good place. But yeah, no, if it would have been between that and like I said, I'm the youngest of four. I'm, the only one that's not married, no kids. They all married and kids and, housewife picket fence now. I have 10 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So running around and chasing those little shitlins is as, as crazy as it can be. It is such a joy and an honor. And if I'm blessed with my own kids one day, I want that too. So I would have 100% made the same call. You
Yeah.
gotta, it's family over everything.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, trying to create a Dango Dojo in your area is probably one of the best things you could do for the sport. I know that's something that I want to try to create over here. It's just trying to get the capital, get the floor space, is tough to do, especially in this market, this time frame, because everything is so over priced. And everybody thinks that this place is worth X amount when it's not bringing in anything. So it's just one of those things where you just got to keep trying to find that right healthy balance. UTAN has a pretty good model out there, like you said. Just trying to get the kids in, even if it's just dryland training, for your local high schools. Like, hey, come check out this facility. This is what we can do to offer and help out. And I think he charges like $50 a month or $75 a month. They can come and go as they choose. So it's something to definitely think about. So
yeah, and when you get like like my situation when I was starting to play ice hockey, when you find the kids that need a cheaper alternative just to play in the summertime or at all, like it's such a great thing to do. With the rise of guys like Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, guys who speak openly about, loving roller hockey and playing roller hockey and how much beneficial it can be for their ice game, it'll only grow more because you'll still have the guys that are pure roller for their whole lives.
Yep.
But, just having that community involved as well, I think definitely will push it to the next level and it'll help so many more people.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. So, but man, with that, we're going to have to cut this interview down. Julio Bana Fernandez, it's been a pleasure. I cannot wait to have you come back on. We are going to talk to you again, specifically probably about your next endeavor. When you get your own Dango Dojo up and running, in the Baltimore area. I have a feeling that you have the ability to make that happen, and you will. So, man, I cannot wait to have you back on.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. And thanks, your podcast is amazing. Love listening. Thanks for having me on. You do so much for the community just by doing interviews like this. So big props.
Well, I try to just tell the stories and get it out there because this is history. This is your history. Your kids are going to be able to watch it one day. Your nieces and nephews are going to be able to watch and be like, wow, I never knew that about Uncle Julio, So that's how I take it. I go, if I can get you on to talk about you and your career, your journey through the game that we all love, and it'll inspire others to want to get out there and play.
Yeah, I hope so. For sure.
All right. Well, I'm Ben W. Stock. That's Julio Bana Fernandez, and we're going to catch you guys on the flip side.
Largo para Galván, buena jugada, a ver, termina, buen pase, sí señor, y él dijo
el telón del Panamericano, el gol anóteselo a José Stambrook.
That's going to do it for this episode of GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, alongside Chris Greco. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure you like and subscribe on all our platforms on YouTube and on Spotify. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.